The first way is, you know, logging into ZipForms itself. You have a login and all that. The second way is to go through CCAR, right? So you go through CCAR, you have this button right here, ZipFormPlus, and it would connect it for you much faster than that. Right. So we'll skip here. Now for us, ZipForms is free. So every once in a while you'll get this box asking you to update or whatever.
What's the difference between ZipForms and ZipFormsPlus?
Honestly, ZipFormsPlus is what we use.
Okay.
I think it's the same exact thing.
It looks like the same stuff's coming up anyway.
Yeah. Added a lot of things to it a couple of years ago. I don't know if you remember or not, but it looks a little different. So people that are coming back, you know, had a little break from ZipForms 2 years ago, they come back and they're like, oh, what's this? Looks a little different. Especially when you go for signatures, it's a little. Anyhow, so ZipForms here is where you want to go to get all your forms. Right? A lot of times when you sign in, this is what you're gonna see is your dashboard. Okay, now another way to get in here is, let's see here, where's my ZipForms? Not ZipForms. Okay, say for example you're in Paragon, and I don't know, guys, give me an address. So let's say you're watching the market like we do every morning and every night, hopefully, right? So you're watching the market in the morning and you go on the new. So you're clicking on the new to see what, you know, what just got listed in the last 24 hours. And let's go down here, find a cute house. Oh, look at this one, Woodcross Court. Right? So you call your client, you say, hey, this just got listed, it's $305,000, it's in your budget, let's go get a look at it, you know, let's put an offer on it. And let's say your client says, you know what, I want to put an offer on it and then go look at it today. So great, that's awesome. That's like your best scenario right there. So what you want to do when you're talking to them, right, you want to go ahead and put an offer on it. All you want to do is click on this button right here. That's your ZipForms button. So when you click on that, it takes you directly to ZipForms and it fills out a lot of the information for you. It fills out your address, it fills out, you know, a lot of other things that it pulls from the MLS. Okay, so see, it opened it it opened it twice. So it did connect, it just took my iPad a little while to get acquainted. And see here, you see the address here, Woodcross Court. And you can go in here and now you can go through the tabs a little bit. So if you're looking on your left-hand side, you'll be able to see if there's anything that is in progress. You'll be able to see if there's someone that, you know, forgot to sign, maybe you forgot to sign something. Now over here it says there's nothing. You know, it doesn't say that there's anything in progress yet because of course we just started this transaction, right? So what we'd want to go see is we're gonna go to parties first, and we want to make sure that all the parties are correct, right? So you see here, listing agent and broker. That's really good because they already have all that information in there for you. But make sure, because sometimes it doesn't, you know, it doesn't register. Most of the time it does. So if you click on the Mills Group, for example, you can see all their information in here. Make sure that everything is correct, especially your emails. That's all you need here is emails. You don't need anything else really. You know, first name, last name, email. You want to make sure that you have your information as the selling agent. So if you're the buyer agent, you're the selling agent. That's what it is. I know it's a little confusing, but the selling agent is the buyer. Broker is the buyer agent. Does that make sense? Okay, so you got the closing attorney, and you also can put in the lender. Guys, sometimes it's easier, you know, to have everything, you know, once everything is signed, to go ahead and send it. And that's when you already have the signatures from the sellers. I wouldn't do that if I don't have the signatures of the sellers because you don't have a ratified contract. But say you only needed one initials from the buyer, well, you can have, you know, the attorney and the lender copied on it automatically. So you don't have to go back, put a new email, download everything, okay? And you can copy them on it. Now, if you see on the left-hand side, you have all these parties in here. You can basically look in here and you can add whoever you need. Okay, so say for example, you got a fourth seller that you need to add. Now going to documents. Okay, and do you guys have your templates ready? I'm sure you do. Yeah?
Yeah.
You got
I need to
them?
do more. I don't have that one.
Okay, we'll go through that in a little more in depth. But if you want, you can take screenshots of what's in here. I'll show you the templates and you'll take screenshots of them. So basically, when you go and you click on ZipForms on an active property, it goes right away automatically to a purchase. Okay, and it will apply the template that you put in there in the system, right, onto it. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. So here in the documents, you have all the paperwork that you will need. And you can also upload other documents. You see these that look like a PDF? They don't look like these documents here. Those are documents that we uploaded. They're extra documents that CCR didn't have, or like they're not really anything mandatory. And we just added them to it.
Could be the disclosure.
Team form, for example, the HOA addendum, it's good to have, but it's not something that CCR has. Utility providers, that's really important for me for sellers, for example. And sometimes if the seller doesn't have one, or the listing agent hasn't provided one, I would send it out to them and say, hey, can you have your seller just fill it out for me, please? And that way the buyers know who to call and get the information and get their utilities set up. One more thing I wanted to show you. Here's how you add a document. So you see here in the middle, top here it says add a document. That's where you would add it. You can actually also, if you're already in here, you made a mistake and it's a listing, you can click on apply template and do the listing template, or do a commercial template or a land template. Now, for you starting out, you're probably gonna do just residential, and don't get too confused with the condo because it's the same documents. Condos has a few more, you just add it to the same template. That way it's easy. So you got listing, purchase, done. Right? Now if you work with land, good. If you work with commercial, you can add that too. But for starters, for now, you just want to have these two templates. Now you can organize them differently. You see the organize button right there. So if you wanted it to, move them, you would hit on organize, right? And you can just grab one and move it around. I have it moved and kind of organized in order of where I want it. I have the cover sheet, I have the broker's relationships, the wire fraud, the exclusive right to buy, then we got the offer, all these documents. Okay. And this is how we add a doc. You click here, and what you want to do is you want to browse for a document. Okay, and then you want to click on browse for a file, and it'll ask you, if you're on your computer, it's going to ask you, what file, and you're going to go find it and everything and upload it in here. Okay, now you have checklist. Okay, now this one, I don't use it very much. You guys already have SkySlope with the brokerage. And if they're missing something, guess what? Yeah, they're gonna keep emailing you until you get it in the system, or send it to them, or email it to them. But if you want it to be more efficient, or faster, you can set up tasks for yourself. Okay, so you have like some, expiration dates, some listing dates, things like that, and you can go through it. If you have a CRM, or if you check your emails with SkySlope, I wouldn't worry about that. But it's just another tool that some people use. Okay, you've got notes in here. So you can basically go into different transactions and put notes. Again, I don't use this because I have a CRM. Right, so I have a system where I see every client and I put all my notes there because I don't want to go anywhere else to see all these notes and tasks. The ESign. So this one here for the transaction, for this specific one, it'll show you if there's anything sent, signed, declined, anything like that. We're just started this, so it's not gonna be, there's not gonna be anything in here. Let me show you real quick one that's already started. So let's see this one. Oh, well, this one is okay. This one is a buyer. So let's say we went to documents and see on the top, you're always gonna see just the clean blank documents. That's what you're gonna see, right? But if you scroll all the way down, you're gonna see the archives and all the documents that have been uploaded, signed, all that stuff. And you're always gonna see for each folder sent, you're gonna see an archive folder. Oh, well, oh, let me give you a better example. I want you guys to see this, so. Okay, here we go. So you see those folders right here? Those are actual documents that are completed, right? This is an archive box. So this kind of shows you the history of things. When something was sent, when it was delivered, when it was signed, when it was sent back, all that stuff. So you can go in here just for your own kind of information. But these one here, so I clicked on, let's see, I don't know if you can see what I'm clicking on. So documents. Okay, so I'm clicking on that ESign packet 219 April right here. And when you click on it, you're gonna see all these documents that are signed. Now, you're gonna see this saying DocuSign. That's because I use another program integrated with ZipForms that helps me with signatures. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. I would say if you have an iPad, it's not gonna work, you're gonna hate it. So use ZipForms. But if you use a laptop or a computer, maybe look into DocuSign. DocuSign and ZipForms together make a really, really good integration. So much easier for signatures and editing. Okay, so let's go up. All right, now we're gonna go into templates. If you have your computer, I'll walk you through this one. So if you go to templates, you're gonna click on new. And when you click on new, you're gonna pick what you wanna do. You wanna pick a listing or a purchase, okay? So this template here, once you set it up, you don't go back in there again, ever again. Well, unless you have a new document or something like that, then you go in there and you add it so it applies to everything else you want. So say for example, let's do a new purchase. So click on new purchase. A new box is gonna come up and you're gonna name it. And you're naming the template. So you can name it, I don't know, residential buyers or purchase residential. I have mine as residential purchase. So again, templates, new, residential purchase, and that's what I would call it, residential purchase. And this applies to residential and it also applies to condos. So you don't have to do another template for condos, there's no reason. So you can click on residential right here. And the most important thing is you pick that it applies to purchase residential new transactions. That's what you want it to do because that's the whole point, is when you click on new purchase, that this template applies with all the documents in it. So you don't have to go fetch, you know, the documents every time. So you're gonna click the second one, which is automatically apply these templates. to purchase residential new transactions, and you're gonna click on save. Now I'm not gonna do that because I already have one. So this is what you're gonna get right here, is residential purchase. And it's an automatic template. Now if you go in here, you're not gonna see anything. There's not gonna be any documents here. What you will need to do is apply the documents you need for this template to apply to each transaction you want to purchase. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to forms, and if you want to take screenshots of this, these are the forms that you need for residential. Okay, so you can take screenshots of this.
Can I get one of the listing?
Yeah.
Because I have the residential.
Yeah, we'll get to that once we
Oh, you're
we
gonna
do
do
this.
the listing too? Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right, so got that. So go ahead and take
Oh, you went too
screenshots.
fast.
Oh, there's more. Oh, which one did you?
Oh, I was doing all those. We don't do all those.
Yes, you do all. There's more.
Okay, you went to agreement to buy and sell, and then after, I don't have my glasses on. Agreement to buy, the assumption of, was that one?
Uh-huh.
Is the one under it one, or did you accidentally click it? Okay.
No, I didn't click it.
And then, can you read
So you
the
can-
next three, like what it starts off with?
You got buyer notice of accepted offer.
Got it. Okay,
Buyer
I can do all
agreement to
three.
occupy.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. And then the next one's conditional release. Ooh, not that one.
Which
Disbursement.
condition of release, the second one, or the first one?
That one. The first one.
Thanks.
From buyer. Release from buyer.
Okay,
The conditional release from listing agreement, that's for a seller.
okay.
Okay. Now you got disbursement of
How does it let me
agreement.
out of it? It won't let me out of it. How do you unclick it?
Click it again.
I did, it won't disappear. No, yeah, it won't let me get rid of it. Remove, or no, just, yeah, I don't wanna remove it. It's okay, I'll remember.
You know what? You can delete it later.
Okay, and then exclusive right to sell is the next one?
Exclusive, no, that's not, okay, that's this thing failing me.
Or is that agency buyer?
No, I don't want. No, don't click on the, it's making me click on things. Okay, so the exclusive right to buy agency, you don't need that. You need the FHA addendum and the flood insurance disclosure. You definitely need the lead-based paint addendum for sure. And you need the pamphlet. Make sure you have the pamphlet and the addendum. So if you have any properties that are built before 1779, you have to give your buyers both of these things. And the addendum has to be signed from the seller. So you would have to ask the seller for a copy of it. Okay, let me try to see if I can get more without clicking on this thing. Here's some more. Here's the last few. So release agreement, repair addendum, South Carolina disclosure, all these. Okay, so now you have all these documents. Okay, so let me just show you one little thing while this thing is still thinking of what to do. If you wanted to delete a form, for example, you would click on, you see that blue drop down right here? You can click on that and it'll give you some options. You can open it, you can delete it, you can preview it, you can print it, save it as PDF, download it, you can move it to another folder, or you can send it to someone. So say for example you wanted to send it to a broker so they can look at it, you can do that as well. You want to attach it to a task to do something. Like I said, this one, I don't know how much it'll be, how much efficient it'll be reminding you of doing things. You want something a little more on top of it because you don't go to ZipForms every day, right? So let's just close out of that.
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not. Well, if you do, then you'll find an assistant, you know, have him or her go in and do that every day. Okay, somebody said it. Now, another way, say for example, you're listing a property, okay? You can go to Paragon and you can find that property that was sold, expired, withdrawn, whatever it is. Just find the last time it was listed. That's probably gonna be the easiest and the best way to go about it. And you can go to ZipForms from there and apply a listing template. Okay, that way it's also gonna be much easier for you. Sometimes it doesn't apply alone. It'll apply, you know, like a buyer and a seller, but at least all the documents will be there. So check it and let me know next time what you guys see, what you find. For me, it always applies both. I don't know why. Okay. Okay, so we're back here. Say for example, you got these two, and you want to delete them. You don't need them, right? The system opened them too many times. So you can go ahead and just click delete, and it'll ask you, hey, do you really want to delete it? And I want to click yes, and that just takes it away. Same thing with this one. Let's just go ahead and do that and delete. Okay. So back to templates. Now we're gonna go to listing templates. Okay, so now you wanna go to new again, and instead of new purchase, you're gonna click on the first one on the home that says new listing. So you're gonna click on that, and you wanna make sure you name it something you remember it's for listings. So sellers, or listing paperwork, or listing transaction. You wanna go ahead and choose residential. And like I said before, the residential and the condominium is the same exact thing. There's no difference. And you do want to make sure that you click automatically apply to listing residential new transaction. That's very important, otherwise it's not going to apply. Okay, and then you click save, and now you got a new one. Now I already have it, but this is what it's going to look for you. It's going to look empty, and you're going to go and click on all forms up on the right, and you're gonna go and pick all these documents, and I'll give you I'll show you what they look like. Okay, let me delete this before I get confused. Okay. All right, so this is the listing one, and if you want, you can take a screenshot of these, or yeah, just go ahead and take a screenshot of these.
Sorry.
That's all right. You gotta see them.
See it.
And you
Okay,
get it?
yeah, got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we got this right here. There's more.
Can you make it like smaller so all of them would show? Or can
No, you can't. There's like over 20. Yeah, there's not really.
I wouldn't be able to see them.
Now it doesn't
That's
mean that
all.
you're gonna use all of these, you know, but you're gonna need them. You know, at some point you're gonna need one.
It's not you, it's my dad.
Oh,
Thanks.
sorry.
It's like, what's your name?
Okay, so for listings, you want to make sure you have the lead-based paint for sure. You want to make sure you have that Beachfront Management Act and the Vacation Rental Act for the oceanfront condos, right? Oceanfront, ocean view, you really, really need these for your sellers, because you're supposed to have, you're supposed to provide them on MLS for buyer agents, okay? I would rather have them and get them done up front. That way there's no, you
And
know.
what is it?
You got the Vacation Rental Act addendum, right? That's the one that says 90 days, you can't kick out tenants once you become a new owner.
Is that only for vacation rentals though?
Mhm.
Okay.
Short-term, short-term rentals. For long-term rentals, there's a lease. If there's a lease attached to a property, that lease must be honored. That's just a thing, you know, and they'll have to sign it in the seller disclosure. So page 4 of the seller disclosure, it asks if this property is rented out and when does it, when does the lease run out? Yeah, that's where they fill it out, and they're supposed to give you a copy of the lease too, because it's,
They never do.
that, I've been happy a few times where, I didn't have to ask for it.
I've gotten
Yeah. If you just get it done, ahead of time, people will appreciate it. And it's less headache because either way you're gonna have to show it.
Yeah.
I don't know why people do that. Maybe a lot of people wanna just get it listed as soon as possible and they don't care. But that's really the wrong thing to go about it. What if the lease actually says that, they're in there for 2 more years? And now you're in a big conflict with these tenants, right? Now you either have to pay them a lot of
Or
money.
you can't have a certain kind of dog or something like that,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that happens more often than
Yes.
you think it does. Like that same place, HOA.
American Satire, terrible.
Well, it said small dog. I'm like, well, what do you mean by, or small animal? I'm like, what do you mean by small? Is there a weight limit? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, really?
But then again, it can mean a bird or a parrot. You just never
Right.
know. It could be a parrot.
Right.
You can't have a parrot. You can't have any kind of pet, including a goldfish. I mean, it's a pet.
I
You
forgot.
can't get a goldfish.
Yeah, I agree
You
with you.
disclose that or
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, but see, like you make sure that you do, because it'll make your life easier and you will look more professional and you'll have the upper hand every time. Okay, so again, if you wanted to organize it to make it, like for me, I like things organized. I like things in order. So I know the first thing I want to do is the South Carolina disclosure. The second thing I want to do is the wire fraud. The third thing I want to do is the exclusive right to sell, right? Then I want to have that MLS data sheet signed. One thing that you might want to explore is that the MLS residential data sheet, well, not the MLS, the property disclosure, I'm sorry. The property disclosure might be a little difficult to get signed and filled out online. It all depends on how technical your client is, because there's a lot of boxes. And if you're not using anything else to help you get this signed and you're only using ZipForms, you're gonna have to put in each box.
Yeah, I do. I present that out to the homeowner, let them.
Let them fill it out. That's probably the easiest way to do it.
Is that your other word for data sheet? Because I never heard it called data.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The data sheet is what you print out to take to your listing so you can fill out the information, like the measurements and agent to agent remarks and all that. Yeah, it's a different one. You have your change form, you have your dual agency, your team if you're on a team, flood insurance disclosure for sure, and all these things. You probably took pictures of it, right? Okay. So the next thing I want to show you, now if you have a save button, if you're doing this right now and you have a save button, save it. Anytime you're doing anything in ZipForms,
Save it right away.
save it. Because I've been there so many times where and everything's gone, and now you have to do it all over again, and your clients are like, is it coming yet? We're hungry, we need to go to dinner. Okay, you know what, forget about it, we'll send it tomorrow. And you probably have lost the sale, so anyhow, so now we're clicking to back to list. Now that you have these 2 templates, you don't need to mess with them at all. The only thing I would tell you is you can literally, like, I'm gonna click on the my template again, and for example this one, I have some of them highlighted in certain areas. For example, let's see if I have anything highlighted here. Actually, I have the listing highlighted because those are the difficult parts. So, okay, so for example, I have it already highlighted. That way, if I ever pull it up with ZipForms, I want to print it out, it already prints out highlighted. And if my clients are having trouble understanding, don't want to read the whole thing, I'll say read the highlighted stuff and you'll understand what this means. Okay, so I've highlighted, owner should answer the questions fully, honestly, appropriately, by attaching documents, checking boxes.
How'd you highlight it?
Oh, so, all right, so you want to,
we screenshot all your highlight too?
I'm trying to show you.
Oh, you show that.
So
but
you
don't
wanna
get rid
you
of
wanna double click on the sentence, whatever it is. See if you can. If you have a mouse, it'd probably be much easier than me trying to do this. See if I can do it here.
Try from the.
Oh, here we go. No, it worked. Okay, so you highlight it. It's gonna be much easier for you guys. But then what you wanna do is, let's see, there's a highlighter somewhere here. You see this highlighter? I don't know, it's gonna do it because this is an iPad, so everything is different.
Tap and then brings
Try-
up
do you
the
double
window
tap it?
to
Mhm.
highlight.
And you have different colors of a highlighter too. It should give you different
Or yellow,
options.
pretty standard.
Come on.
I think you can also rearrange the toolbar, because my highlight is in the toolbar.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It
It's,
depends on the
It's different on
space.
whatever computer.
yeah, mine, see, is in the middle. And I don't use this very much. I only use this if I'm out and about and I need to get something signed real quick and they're in front of me. You know, you can highlight these. You can highlight where the owner needs to initial. Because this is like 6 pages of agony for sellers, right? They don't understand it. They don't want to deal with it. They don't understand why they need to do it. And they'll even come back to you and say, what do you mean I need to initial that I acknowledge receipts? You know, this part is mainly for your buyer, that they're acknowledging the receipt of the copy, but you are providing a, you know, all the questions fully and honestly answered, attaching documents. These are the things you need to do. And it says here, if a question is answered with no representation, see here, it kind of tells the seller that, hey, if you do this, this is what it's gonna look like to the buyer. It says it states that the owner is making no representation of the condition, but the owner still may have a duty to disclose information. And what that means is that if you've lived in the property, you probably know. So you shouldn't be saying no representation. And this kind of puts that in front of the seller saying, hey, you can't do that. And that's why, you know, when you see like rentals and
And they've never been on the
construction,
property.
they don't fill this out because it doesn't apply to them. They've never lived there, okay? So I highlight all these things. I highlight this big part there that says, as owner, do you have any actual knowledge of any problems, right? So when they ask you, well, I don't know if anything happened, well, then you don't have actual knowledge. Then the answer is no. But you pretty much have to be really honest, you know, either yes or no. It's very simple, you know, because even if you have a rental, if you put it on a rental program, the rental agency will have to tell you if there is a leak, right? Because you have to pay for it, right? Up to maybe what, $200, $150 for some of them. It's okay, they'll go ahead and do it, but they'll have to let you know what happened and what they did. And after that, you know, if it's more than $150, then, you know, they call the homeowner will have to sign off on it, all that stuff.
So in the beginning, it's a lot of detail work, but once you have a lot of detail work, then it's easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
There's hours and hours of work here.
Yeah,
But you
no.
gotta double check what you're doing, you know?
Mm-hmm. All right, so if we wanted to add a file, say for example, I want the HOA addendum to apply to all my templates. So what I'm gonna do is, of course, you're gonna ask your one of the coordinators at ROGD and say, hey, I need copies of my 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll send them to you, and here's where you will upload them. You will click on add a document, and then you will browse for documents, and you can upload whatever documents you need here and save it. Okay, so the next important thing here is, we talked about tasks. You have this me button right here. And it's really, really important that you set that up if you're new, because, you know, if you don't have it, then you'll have to go through the process of, okay, you don't want to put in your information every single time you have a transaction. So you want to go in here and you want to go to profit and settings, profile and settings, and you want to follow all these little tabs here. Okay, most importantly is the about me. That way you put in your information, your email. That's weird. And you want to click on signature. You want to go ahead and delete all this, and you want to put in your signature. You want to copy and paste your signature in here, and that way if you're sending them some documents, they'll see your information, they'll know that it's sent from you.
What are you under right now? I missed it, I'm sorry.
What
you
am I
under
under
ESign?
right
Is that what you're
now? I am under
Your
About me and
profile.
Doug.
Alright, thank you, I'm so sorry.
That's all right. And then settings, profile and settings, and you go in there, you fill all this stuff out. You have make sure that you're saving everything. Every time you do it, you're saving it, and you go to the next one. You got your sign in and security.
Okay, so we're in an email signature,
Mm-hmm.
and it says include all outbound. Well, how do you?
You wanna-
So it's blank. So how do you?
You want to select all and delete that. And for me, like, I would go to my email. Okay, so I'm copying this thing.
Real estate broker, team leader, educator, certified distressed property expert. Wow, that's pretty cool.
Try. Thank you. So
I was just going to ask you what your background was. Now I know.
all right, so now we can go in here and we can just paste it in here, if this would help me. Doesn't want to do much. I'm not sure why it doesn't want to cooperate at all.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it took a little longer. But anyway, so you copy that, but make sure you go through this, go to your settings and make sure that your settings are set up to where you're getting emails on everything. Like whenever someone signs something, whenever someone reviews something. Let's see here. Again, go to me, profile and settings, and go through all that. If you wanted to add DocuSign or some other dot loop or anything else, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to products. Or no, I'm sorry. And this is where you see where your products are. This is where you can find all the other programs, all the other things that you can use with ZipForm, maybe CRMs. You can connect your Google contacts. You can connect your Google Calendar. See this one here, it says that it's already connected with DocuSign. And this here is your dashboard. I don't know if I showed you this before. So this is where you can go in and look at everything, all your transactions, if you have any signings in progress, if you have anything expired, all that stuff.
There's a lot of grunt.
Yeah, there's a lot of work here. It's a lot of paperwork. That's why, that's another thing I wanted to tell you guys. If you go to templates, you go to residential, for example, I would, in templates, fill it out. Fill your paperwork out. Like here, for example, I've already filled it out to where when it's, when it applies, you already know where to put what. And for example, for my agents, this is how I filled it out for my agents, even more literal in all the little blanks, where this is where you put your seller's name. This is where you answer all these things. You have all these in there, so when they come up automatically.
Wow, I wish our broker did that for us.
It's it makes life much easier, especially if you're new, and even if not, like I would not want to fill this out all over again, right? I just want to put in the buyer name and the seller name, and that's it. And I put in like where to get them from. So if you're new and you want to, keep keep that in there so you don't forget and you know where to go. You know, like the seller name you get from CRS, the closing attorney, you could just put TBD because you don't have to choose it right now. And you just fill all these things in here, and that way they'll pop up for you. Like the earnest money is usually 1% of the purchase price at least. This one here, this part here is 90 per our broker, and this is basically for, you know, court fees. Yeah.
Some try to get away with 100, 110, 200. I mean,
I've seen
$90.
250 before, and I was like, is that
$90.
correct?
$90 has been, you know,
Yeah.
standard.
And you know, just make sure that everything is filled out, that way you don't have to worry about it when, you know, when it comes to making an offer. And that's it. Do you guys have any questions?
Oh, good, thanks.
I do have a question.
Okay.
So like if, like for some of the forms were under my forms, does that mean that I need to ask for them to be put in there? Like the MLS residential wasn't there, the change form, the team closing form, those ones you added?
Okay.
Where do I get those from?
No form from the forms.
So which ones are you missing? What's the
Like
first
for
one you're missing?
instance, let me go back to the residential,
So you were doing residential purchase or
yeah.
listing?
just the residential purchase.
Purchase, okay.
Alright, so I'm
let me
there,
click on
I don't have the MLS one that you had. Like it's not popping up under my forms for all forms, it doesn't pop up for me.
that. What's the name of it?
There was like 8 of them for some reason. One of them was MLS residential.
MLS residential data sheet. That's not for the purchase, that's for listing.
Alright,
So you wanna, so you wanna go into the listing, residential listing, like I'm showing you here. And is this the one you're talking about? This one right here?
yeah, if it has MLS in the front, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so you can go to all forms.
Right.
That's another thing that I
Let
maybe
me
didn't tell
get
you.
back out and go to the listing since I told you wrong to begin with. Hold on, sorry. So if I go to my listing and I'm going to all
Go to
forms.
listing, go to all forms.
Yeah, I
And
don't
see
have-
where this one says South Carolina Association of Realtors?
Yeah.
Just
Just all.
click on it and click on all, and then just type in MLS.
Oh, I didn't have all, that was the problem.
Mhm.
Okay, now I have it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Yeah.
Alrighty, you're welcome, guys.
See you.
I'll see you next time. Hopefully we'll be doing the Paragon one.